Hello, I'm Tom Kimmel. This is an updated presentation further concerning General Marshall's profound Catalogue of Error. It was made for the Board for Correction of Naval Records on August 9th, 2018, attendant to my April 7th, 2017 application currently before them, requesting administrative action to remove injustice in the Rear Admiral Kimmel matter. Docket number 4430-17. General Marshall testified to the Army Pearl Harbor Board and the Joint Congressional Committee as follows. Congressman Keith, General Russell from the Army Pearl Harbor Board in 1944 asked you this question. In this letter of February 7, 1941, General, the statement is made by you to General Short that the risk of sabotage and the risk involved in a surprise raid by air and by submarine constitute the real perils of the situation in Pearl Harbor. Did anything that occurred between the date of this letter of February 7, 1941 and the attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941 cause you, General Marshall, to change in any way that estimate of the situation in Hawaii? General Marshall told General Russell nothing occurred. He also testified to Congressman Keith that that is correct. That is still my view. Well, this suggests that something profound occurred. 22 days before the Pearl Harbor attack, General Marshall secretly briefed 7 members of the press on United States relations with Japan. 2 members, Robert Sherrod of Time magazine and Ernest Lindley of Newsweek magazine, memorialized the event. Sherrod that day memorialized the event in a memorandum quoting and paraphrasing General Marshall. According to the memorandum, General Marshall said, "We have access to a leak in all the information the Japanese, are receiving concerning our military preparations, especially in the Philippines. In other words, we know what they know about us, and they don't know that we know it." Sherrod's memo continued. The grand strategy does not include the use of much naval force. Marshall indicates that he believes United States bombers can do the trick against Japanese naval strength and against our Japanese cities without the use of our shipping. Sherrod's memo concluded with his added handwritten comment dated August 29, 1945. The danger period is the first 10 days of December, Marshall said. If we get by that, we'll be okay until February. By then, MacArthur will have plenty in the Philippines. Conference attendee, Newsweek's Ernest K. Lindley, noted that Marshall said, "Our aim is to blanket the whole Japanese area with air power. Our own fleet, meanwhile, will remain out of range of Japanese air power at Hawaii." Historian Hanson Baldwin, in his 1950 book, Great Mistakes of the War, summed up Sherrod's and Lindley's accounts without identifying them or identifying General Marshall as the source, styling it as a profound catalogue of error. We were on the brink of war with Japan. If a Pacific War started, there would not be much need for our Navy. The U.S. bombers could do the trick virtually single-handed, or to paraphrase the spokesman's words, without the use of our shipping. Our own Pacific fleet would stay out of the range of Japanese air power in Hawaii. Baldwin styled it as Marshall's profound Catalogue of Error. Admiral Kimmel wrote in his book in 1954, "I now believe that the Washington newspaper correspondents and the editors of our leading newspapers were much more accurately informed of the seriousness of the situation than were the commanders at Pearl Harbor." Though General Marshall's role in the secret conference was apparently never known to Kimmel, it would suggest that Kimmel was correct, but did not know the half of it. Kimmel also wrote in 1954 that no one has ever explained why the weaknesses so clearly described in the Secretary of the Navy's letter of 24 January 1941 were permitted to continue during all these months at this outlying station whose security was vital to the safety of the fleet and of the United States. Marshall's secret conference would suggest an explanation. The man with overall responsibility for the defense of the fleet while in Pearl Harbor, Marshall, thought the fleet would stay out of the range of Japanese air power in Hawaii. Consider, of 180 long-range bombing planes authorized by the War Department early in 1941, only 12 had arrived at Pearl Harbor, and of these six were out of commission, as they had been stripped of vital parts to enable other planes of similar type to continue their flight to their destination in the Philippines. Also consider, of 100 Navy patrol planes authorized for the 14th Naval District at Pearl Harbor, not one had arrived prior to December 7th, 1941. Kimmel wrote in 1962 that code-breaking information, which was denied to the Hawaiian commanders, was supplied to the American commanders in the Philippines and to the British. Neither Kimmel nor any Pearl Harbor investigation knew that code-breaking information, virtually identified as such by Marshall, was also supplied to reporters by General Marshall on November 15, 1941, 22 days before the Pearl Harbor attack. The proceeding notwithstanding, Marshall repeatedly testified as to the utmost importance in protecting the secret of our ability to read Japanese codes. Too secret to reveal to Kimmel, or Short, or the Army Pearl Harbor Board, or the Naval Court of Inquiry, but not too secret, apparently, to reveal to reporters. Thank you very much for your kind attention.